At 5:48 a.m. on a crisp Thursday in late September, Thomas Reed walked down the familiar gravel path to the dam control house, unlocked the door with steady hands, and turned the spillway gates wide open. He didn't rush. After all, he'd been mulling this over for 14 long months. As he strolled back to his porch, coffee in hand, he settled into his old wooden chair and watched the 19 acres of Willow Lake, his lake, begin to drain away. By 8 a.m., the water had dropped 3 inches, exposing a pale rim of mud along the northern and eastern shores. The 16 unauthorized docks the HOA had hammered into his lakebed sat lower on their pilings, like uninvited guests caught in an awkward squat. And those 139 gleaming vacation cabins, built right on his shoreline without so much as a nod from him, still sparkled in the morning sun. But not for long. Thomas had owned Willow Lake and its dam since 2004, a quiet retreat in the heart of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, where the pines whispered secrets and the water held memories of simpler times. The air carried that sharp autumn bite, signaling the end of summer's lazy hold. He sipped his coffee, listening to the subtle shift in the water's flow below the dam, a low, purposeful rumble as the lake sought its lowest path. No dramatic flood, no roaring cascade, just nature doing what it does when you remove the barrier. By noon, the lake was down 11 inches. Mudflats emerged, docks wallowed in shallow puddles, and water crept toward the foundations of the lower cabins. His phone buzzed repeatedly, 7 times from William Hayes, the HOA president, but Thomas let it ring out, his gaze fixed on the receding waterline. 14 months earlier, a letter had arrived in Thomas's mailbox, sandwiched between a power bill and a tax notice. It bore the letterhead of the Pine Ridge Lake Community HOA, a group he'd dealt with sporadically over the years for minor shoreline upkeep. Standing in the driveway under the July sun, he unfolded it and read the polished words. The board had approved a 139-unit vacation cabin development on the northern and eastern shores of Willow Lake, citing a 1987 recreational easement from the previous owner, George Harlan. Construction would start next spring. They were excited to share this vision and invited questions. Signed boldly, William Hayes, board president. Thomas reread it twice, the words sinking in like a stone in still water. He pocketed the letter, went inside, and called Elizabeth Kane, his property attorney since the day he'd bought the place. She was sharp, methodical, the kind of lawyer who thrived on the tangled water rights and easements that dotted Michigan's lake country. He read her the letter over the phone. She listened quietly, then asked for the original 1987 easement. By afternoon, she had a certified copy from the county recorder. "It's 4 pages," she said when she called back. Page 1 identifies the parties and property. Page 2 grants recreational use: swimming, fishing, non-motorized boating, and walking within 15 feet of the high water mark from May 1st to October 31st. But here's the key: it's limited. No construction, no permanent installations, no commercial use, no exclusive occupation. She paused, letting it land. Page 3 subordinates everything to the dam owner's water management rights. You can operate the gates at your discretion, anytime, for any reason. No claims against you for the consequences. Thomas leaned against his kitchen counter, staring out at the undeveloped shoreline across the lake. "So what about their cabins?" "Simple," Elizabeth replied. "The easement lets them dip a toe in your water on summer afternoons. It doesn't let them build a village on your bank. Your dam rights are ironclad." He asked about next steps, a cease and desist, an injunction, a call to William. "Do nothing," she said flatly. "A letter gives them time to lawyer up and argue interpretations. An injunction drags it out before anything's built. Let them proceed. Document everything. A finished trespass is a slam-dunk case." Thomas gazed at the tree-lean shore, imagining cabins sprouting like weeds. He thought of William's confident tone in the letter, as if the lake were his playground. "All right," he said. He created a new folder on his computer, Willow Lake HOA Project. He scanned the letter as the first file, then grabbed his camera. Construction kicked off in mid-April, the rumble of excavators echoing across the water like distant thunder. Thomas watched from his porch with binoculars, noting the first 12 lots being cleared. He photographed the survey stakes that would later prove 61 lots encroached outright onto his fee simple land. By May, foundations poured. By July, 41 frames up, docks jutting into his water without a permit or permission. He captured it all. Every pour, every piling, every gravel path scarring the shore. Dates, times, notes in a logbook. 14 months of silent vigilance. Neighbors noticed. Laura Jenkins, from the western shore, stopped him at the mailbox. "You seeing this across the lake? It's changing everything." Thomas nodded. "I'm handling it." She pressed, but he steered to the dry April weather. Michael Ford called in May, a fisherman who'd cast lines in Willow Lake for years. "Did they pay you? Or is this easement mess?" Thomas assured him it was under control, details confidential. Michael hung up, likely thinking Thomas had caved or cashed out. Then there was Robert Miles, the retired surveyor next door with 23 acres of woodland. He showed up the fence in late May with a hand-sketched plat. 17 lots, maybe more, are over the easement line. Need a field survey, but it's clear. Thomas nodded without spilling his plan. Robert eyed him, then left, sensing the long game. William sent progress letters. May's cordial update on 16 units ahead of schedule, inviting a meeting Thomas ignored. August's bolder announcement of 93 cabins done, plans for pavilions and roads. Thomas filed them all, called Elizabeth. "Doesn't matter," she said. "Phase 2 won't happen." While William built cabins, Elizabeth built a case. She hired David Lawson, a trusted surveyor, to map the boundaries as construction unfolded. His certified plat confirmed 61 cabins fully on Thomas's land, trespasses from 18 inches to 11 feet. The rest violated the easement's no-build clause. She brought in Dr. Henry Blake for water rights. 18 pages affirming Thomas's absolute control over the dam, easement subordinate, no notice required. Dr. Emily Grant modeled hydrology, color maps showing full gate release flooding 31 lower lots, 16 to foundations, 3 to floors. Robert Miles provided a notarized statement. Observations, boundary concerns, his chat with Thomas. By early September, with all 139 cabins sold and occupied, Elizabeth called, ready for months. Wait for spring peak water. Thomas agreed, envisioning the gates grown. Back to that Thursday. By 2 p.m., Williams' calls escalated, 7 unanswered. The lake's drop exposed mud like a guilty secret. At 9 a.m., Elizabeth filed the 41-page complaint. Trespass on 61 lots. Easement abuse on 78 unauthorized docks. William named personally. A process server delivered it by 10:28. The HOA manager read, called William, who stood shoreside, staring at the 11-inch drop. He switched from dialing Thomas to hearing the allegations. 61 foundations on private land, explicit easement bans. Cabin owners buzzed. The filing went public online. Panic calls flooded William. He called an emergency meeting at 7 p.m. 61 owners in person, 40 remote. William downplayed. Legal misunderstanding, lake level temporary. But James Parker, owner of 2 eastern lots, stood and read paragraph 14 aloud. The trespass details, certified survey, no HOA rights. The room froze. Realization hit. Their dream homes on shaky ground, built on a misread easement, lake owned by a stranger across the water. William stammered, no rebuttal. The next weeks unraveled. William hired litigator Harrison. Easement unambiguous, survey solid, gate legal. Cabin claims viable, fraudulent misrepresentation. 37 owners sued HOA for selling unauthorized land, attaching the survey, easement, purchase totals, a financial hammer. Insurer covered partial trespass but denied misrepresentation. Board met. Susan Ward, rising voice, read the denial. William resigned next Tuesday, no fanfare, dodging calls. Elizabeth called Thomas at the dam house. William out. New leadership wants settlement. She suggested raising the lake for the innocent owners. Thomas agreed, turning the valve. Water rose, docks floated, lots drained. Settlement conference, 2 days. HOA conceded boundary clarification, new precise easement, remediation fund from reserves for the 37. Thomas signed, shook hands, drove home. He walked the path one last time, standing in the control house as evening light danced on the water. 19 years owning this, Gates Path Lake. One arrogant board president tried to claim it. 14 months of silence. One gate turn, one binder did the rest. No shouts, no rage, just justice, quiet and sure. The lake sat serene, silver under the pines, his forever. What do you think about stories like this? Share your thoughts in the comments below, especially on themes of injustice and standing up without violence. Do you side with the quiet strategist or believe confrontation is key? Let me know your stance. I'd love to hear your views.